Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. So much football over the weekend. A little less than usual, a little short on the college football. And what if they held a bowl game in L.A. and nobody came? It's not a good college football town. And they got a stadium and it needs a game, so the L.A. Bowl, and it was fun when Utah State went down there and played in it. But that Boise State-Washington game, that was sparsely attended, and it was a terrible game. Washington rolled. I have a theory. We should probably get into this a little later in the show, but I've always been a fan of the little guy, possibly because I grew up in San Diego. And all the teams I rooted for were the little guy. And right up the road in L.A., there was the big guy. The Lakers, the Dodgers, blah, 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 blah. USC football, UCLA basketball. The big guy was right up the road. So I love the little guy. And I'll stick up for the little guy. But I got to say, it's getting harder and harder to do. The split between the group of 5 teams and the Power 4 teams is getting bigger and bigger. And the transfer rule and the NIL, there used to be that, and we saw it with our local teams, certainly with the Utes and the Fiesta Bowl and Sugar Bowl, but I think there were plenty of times we saw it with BYU too. If you got a group of guys together and you coached them up, you grow together, the sum is more than the whole of the parts and all that. No, the whole is more than the sum of the parts, all that stuff, whatever that line is. And outwit, outsmart. And we saw big teams come in and get beat by Utah and BYU. And we saw bowl games, and BYU smoked Oregon in the Las Vegas Bowl once when Oregon didn't want to admit it. Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl, right? And obviously the Utes had their big wins. The Sugar Bowl team beating Oregon State when Oregon State was really good. And obviously BYU's taken down a bunch of big schools, Texas, Oklahoma, Penn State. Both Utah and BYU have beaten USC when they were in the Mountain West in the WAC. But that's all history. In the modern era, you just can't do that, because if some kid starts to emerge as a sophomore, boom, somebody offers him NIL money and he's gone. And so you never get the whole group together. You start growing guys, but you're a farm system. Just keep picking you off. We saw it with Boise State getting blown up by Washington. I think we're going to see it in these 2 playoff games. I think that, first off, Tulane has already been blown out at Ole Miss. They lost in the regular season 45-10, and now we're getting a rematch nobody wants. I think the same thing with James Madison. To pick off the coaches and just, I think down the road, the only thing that's keeping the group of 5 in the playoff right now is the threat of lawyers hitting them with an antitrust suit, which doesn't just have damages, it's triple the damages, and nobody wants to write that check. So they give them a seat at the table. But, I think it's going to be rough. So a little college football over the weekend, also hockey, and yesterday a heck of a win for the Mammoth. They beat Pittsburgh 5-4 in overtime. It's Gunther with the game winner again. He just keeps piling those up. But it was really impressive the way he came back. I mean, they were down 3 goals. They were down 3-zip. It was a bad start, bad giveaways, losing the puck in a wrong place, getting bad bounces off the skating in and all that stuff. But they fought back, and it's gonna be a grind. And I do think the other thing that's interesting here is, this whole thought, it's a young team, it's a rebuild. They got a bunch of guys on this team that really aren't that young. And so it's going to be interesting to see how quickly they turn over, how quickly they bring in more young guys. Some of these guys, Sergachev and Keller are in their prime. Now certainly Cooley is young, and Gunther is a young guy. And I think Paterka at 23, I would put, those 3 are the young guys. And they got 2 really good guys. And we'll see what Daniel Boot does, because he's up now and he's 20 years old. But they're playing a lot of guys. Carcone, who had a big goal in Pittsburgh there, he's 29. Lawson Krause is 28. Dersey, 27, right in his prime. Ian Cole's 36. Olimata's 31. They're playing Marino's 28. Nate Schmidt's 34. They get some old guys on this team. The time is now. It's now. Yamamoto's 27. He's right in his prime. Yeah, they got 3 guys on the young side, but or 4 maybe. But and Lamoureux's up now, but he doesn't have the role yet. It's these young guys come in, that'll help make them younger, but it's going to be interesting to see how Bill Armstrong turns the roster over, moves out some of these guys 29 and over, not right away, but over the next year or two, and tries to build a team around these young guys. And, that is a trick, and it'll be interesting to see him try to pull it off. But in the meantime, can there be a playoff team this year? They are sitting – it just seems like every day they bounce above the playoff line, below the playoff. They're 8th and they're in, they're 9th and they're out. Good to see them get a result on the road. They're back on the road again Tuesday night. Actually, they have another back-to-back coming up. Those are rough, but it's an Olympic year. What are you going to do? Everybody's going through it right now. And they'll be in Boston Tuesday and in Detroit Wednesday. For more on the win over Pittsburgh, let's get to the best of the postgame show.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth erased a 3-0 third-period deficit and beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-4 in overtime on Sunday afternoon at the PPG Paints Arena. Second straight game, Mammoth on the road give up a goal in the first minute. They were down 1-0, gave up 2 more, and we headed to the third period in a 3-0 hockey game. But Utah took over from there. Nate Schmidt, 67 seconds into the third, got Utah off and running.
Down the wall for Peterka. Wrist shot, save, rebound, loose, and they score! Utah starts the comeback early in the third with a goal from Nate Schmidt on a sharp angle.
And 15 seconds after that, we'd get the first of 2 goals from Michael Carcone on Sunday afternoon.
Utah speeds this out through center with Michael Carcone. Bursting in, Carcone shoots, glove save, rebound, loose, caroming in, they score again! Mammoth go back-to-back, and they're 1 shot away from tying the Pens. That was all created by Michael Carcone.
The third goal would be scored by Sean Dursey as he threw one to the net. And just like that, 5 minutes and 35 seconds into the third period, we had ourselves a tie game.
Sergachev back for Yamamoto. Far side, Dursey, wrist shot, scores! Sean Dursey gets his first of the year, and Utah has come all the way back here in Pittsburgh. We're tied at 3.
Pittsburgh challenged that Kevin Stenlin interfered with the goalie as he got sandwiched in between Pittsburgh defenseman Ryan Graves and Pittsburgh goaltender Sergei Murashov, but it was a quick replay. Goal on the ice stood. 3-3 was our score, and because Pittsburgh failed the challenge, Utah went on the power play where they take a 4-3 lead. Michael Carcone again.
Boot finds Barrett Hayden. Back door. They score! Carcone gets his second, and Utah pulls in front. A power play goal for Michael Carcone and the Mammoth. It's 4-3.
The first lead of the night from the Mammoth, who trailed from 48 seconds into the first period until 5:35 into the third period. Almost 44 minutes there behind. Pittsburgh, though, would tie it up, and it was 4-4 going to overtime. And in the first minute of the OT, the puck was on Dylan Gunther's stick.
Mammoth get the puck back. Dylan Gunther starts accelerating across the blue line. Gunther pulls the trigger and scores! Dylan Gunther does it again! Another OT winner for Gunner. And Utah takes it 5-4 in overtime here in Pittsburgh.
And Utah becomes one of 3 teams in the NHL this year to erase a 3-goal deficit in the third period and win. San Jose did it on Saturday in Pittsburgh. They were down 5-1 in the third and won 6-5 in overtime. So second straight victory for the Mammoth after they defeated Seattle 5-3 at the Delta Center on Friday. They're now 16-15-3 on the year, and they will play road game number 21. They'll start their second half of their road schedule on Tuesday in Boston, and only their 36th out of 82 games. In only their 35th of 82 games, those home games are going to pile up. Let's hear from Dylan Gunther after he got that game winner for Utah.
Winner like that, just general confidence and vibe after a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, a fun game, just fun to win a game where you're down and, collectively everybody's chipping in, and I think that'll bring us a lot of momentum.
When it just comes to that third period push, what were you seeing out of this group to attack that despite the deficit and get things tied up?
Yeah, I think just stick with it. I thought we played really well the first 2 periods, so just sticking to the game plan, and it's a good sign for us.
To see a guy like Michael Carcone get 2 goals tonight, what has he brought to this group?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, a ton of speed. I think he's got to be the fastest player in the league. I mean, going on that goal there, like, he's flying. So, no, he provides a lot of offense for us, and he's a really good player.
Can you take us through the mindset of what it requires to fight back in a goal differential like you guys did into the third? How do you click in like that?
Yeah, I think just keep going the same way. I mean, it's tough sometimes. You want to change things, but I think when you don't see the outcome, I mean, just bear down and make sure you finish your chances. So, I mean, we did that in the third.
Would you consider this a character win, too?
Yeah, huge. I think top to bottom, everyone contributed.
What was the conversation after the second period, and how much of an emphasis was it to get a quick one?
I thought we were pretty calm, but, yeah, I mean, you got to get a quick one. 3 goals is it's hard, I think, especially in this league, but we were able to get one, and we know that they were maybe a little bit fragile from how the game ended yesterday, so that gave us confidence, I think.
Dylan Guenther's up to 15 goals on the season. 9 of his goals have given Utah a lead. 5 of his goals have been game-winning goals, and 3 of his goals this year have been overtime game winners. Since the start of last season, he leads the NHL with 14 game-winning goals. Let's hear from Sean Dursey. He tied the contest, as you just heard, in that third period.
Your first goal of the season, can you tell me what you thought when you watched it go in?
Yeah, I mean, good traffic. I thought we had some really good momentum going and kind of just following up shift after shift. So, yeah, good play. Nice to see one going.
Just the fact that the third period was what it was, largest comeback in franchise history. What does that speak to about this group? And then also, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did a lot of good things throughout. A few plays we probably want back, but we knew we had our game going, and we knew we just had to get a few more pucks to the net, and thought we did a good job of that in the third, build momentum, and then, like I said, hand and shifts off. The group really cares about each other. We care about having success as a team, and I think did a good job taking care of each other tonight.
Does it ever get old watching Guenther score those game winners?
I just saw Veg and hugged him. That's it. Just happy. Don't ask how. Just saw it go in and go from there.
What do you like about your D-core continuing to step up beyond the score sheet? Schmidt gets things going first.
Yeah, you know what? We had a nice D and goalies dinner last night, so to see Schmidt get the D going kind of motivated me a little bit. But no, it's a great group. I mean, we got such a good group of D in our organization that, like I said, care for each other, push each other every day, have fun with each other, and I think that's really important. Is a group who cares and wants success for one another, and again, to see it tonight is good.
Utah was dominant in the contest. They out-attempted Pittsburgh 78-30 in terms of shot attempts. Into the second intermission, the analytics said they should have been up by about 3-1, but they were down 3-0. A couple of mistakes here and there, and couldn't get the puck in the net, but they made the analytics look true in the full 61 minutes with that first minute of overtime and Dylan Guenther's game winner. Utah's power play got their first goal from their second unit. That power play for the Mammoth, now 5 for the last 20. Let's hear from head coach Andre Tourigny after the contest.
Guy in the room and on the bench, they said the right thing all night long. They didn't panic. Obviously, that did not go the way we wanted for a little while in terms of score, but we were playing well, and the guys stayed with it, and we believed we needed to get an ugly one, a rebound or something like that in the third, and when we got the first one, then we were rolling pretty good. I think we did a lot of good stuff in the first 2 periods. We could not get our shot through. They blocked a lot of shot. We could have be a little bit quicker in our execution to get some puck through, and having some deflection on the side as well will help our shooting volume and open up the floodgate. But I really like the way the guys respond.
Dursey mentioned there wasn't necessarily one moment or pivotal moment in the game other than building on that momentum, especially early in the third. When you see it tangibly in goals in 5 minutes, what can you say about that momentum? Because it is real.
Yeah, but I think we played good all night long. It's not like, okay, we start to play at that moment. We were rolling. The puck went in. We made good play, but it could have happened in the second period. Could have happened in the first period. We had a really good moment at the beginning of the game. They took the lead, but we had the puck all the time. So it's not like we start playing in the third. The scoreboard will look like that, but it's not the way it happened.
Shot attempt differential was also a storyline. Gunther said that was just in terms of execution of the game plan. What did you see from that execution of your guys?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we were a little bit slow in our execution in terms of shooting the puck quick, which they were getting in the lane, but we still had the right mindset to put pucks at the net and have Buddy at the net. And like we said all the time, that shooting mentality opened up the next play at some point, and that's what happened.
So back in action Tuesday in Boston, but we're talking all about it today on Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, and SCG Plus. We'll get Mike Folta's Morning After. Our Monday Morning Power Play will give you the top 5 stories of the week going into Boston on Tuesday for the Mammoth. And we've got our good deed of the day. A Utah Mammoth player or two helped push a car out of a snowdrift as they got ready to board the bus to head to the arena in Pittsburgh on Sunday. We'll have it for you on Mammoth Daily wherever you get your podcasts. And we're back with you on Tuesday night at 4 p.m. with Hockey Night in Utah right here on 97.5 the EKSL Sports Zone. The puck will drop from the Garden at 5.
There is the best of the postgame show. We're going to take a break, come back, talk a little football, talk a little NFL, and then we got college hoops after that. It was a pretty good weekend for most of the local teams, although not for Utah, but it was certainly for BYU and Utah State. We'll get to that coming up. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. A reminder, you can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Coming up, we're going to talk college basketball. You'll hear from all the coaches after the game. Jared Calhoun, Kevin Young, and Utah State and BYU talking about their wins. Alex Jensen talking about the one that got away. They had a 17-point lead over Mississippi State and got beat. We'll get to that coming up on our next segment. But I thought we'd spend a little bit now talking about the NFL. We're getting down to it here. We've got 3 weeks to go in the regular season and then into the playoffs. The Chiefs, who are basically out, are now officially out. But on top of that, not only did they get knocked out with a loss at home to a division rival in the Chargers, but in the process, a torn ACL for Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see what the rehab and the comeback looks like. We're 8 months away from preseason games. That'd be pretty fast. In 9 months, the regular season will be underway. They'll be playing game 2. So when is Mahomes back? Now, they're going to have a third-place schedule next year, and I think that's valuable. They have played a killer schedule this year. They have played, first off, the division's tough, right? It's 2 hard games with the Chargers, 2 hard games with the Broncos, but they're playing the other 3 division leaders in the AFC and 1 in the NFC. I mean, a lot of big games for the Chiefs, and the schedule's going to be softer next year. Maybe that'll help them turn it around. Denver's on a third-place schedule this year, and Denver, that was a good win over the Packers. Well done, man. Denver's got the best record in the NFL. They are 12-2 after a 34-26 win. I'm impressed. that was big time. They won that second half 20-10. They're actually down a couple points at halftime. And Jordan Love is okay, 24-40, 276 yards and a touchdown, but the 2 picks really stand out. They jump out at you. Meanwhile, Bo Nix, 23 of 34, 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Holy cow. Unreal. I mean, I thought they'd be better this year, and they were 10 wins in a playoff team last year. I thought they'd win the division. The Chiefs streak had to end. I mean, it's been 9 straight division titles, 10 straight playoff appearances. The team's getting older. The line has been a mess, and they won a bunch of one-score games last year. And Denver, man, a second-year quarterback, a third-year head coach, that was a good year winning 10 games. There just had to be an upside this year. With a second-year quarterback and a third-year coach, they're going to get better. And sure enough, here they sit at 12-2. Now, they do have the advantage of that third-place schedule. And, the Packers game was a tough one, but they've had a lot of games just, the opponents just aren't that good. They had a run earlier this year that went Jets, Giants, Cowboys. All right. And you get to play the Raiders twice? Okay. And you get the Commanders? All right. It's not the toughest schedule. But Green Bay's a big game. They did beat the Chiefs. So, that's not easy, even though they don't have a great record. They got to play the Chiefs again here coming up. And they get the Jaguars next week. So a real breakout. For the Jags, not so much a breakout. It's more a breakout for New England, although they lost to Buffalo yesterday. The Bills, that defense isn't good. They gave up 31 points. I mean, the Bills have had that defense had half dozen bad games. But the brilliance of Josh Allen in that offense, they win 35-31. Big comeback win. It's 24-7, and then just bang, third quarter, it's 24-21. The train's running, and the Patriots just couldn't stop it. So Buffalo still has a chance to win that division. Jacksonville, this is going to be interesting for them. You know, they looked like they were on their way up. They made the playoffs. They beat the Chargers with a huge comeback win, and then they went to the Chiefs and lost. You know, okay, they're on their way. But, they kind of got sidetracked, and they've done weird stuff along the way that I don't think has helped the development of, any of the young players, especially their quarterback, who's really not that young anymore, to be honest. But maybe they're finally back on track, and they've got their act together. They're 9-8 and they win a playoff game, and okay, let's see what happens now, right? And then they go 9-8, 4-13, but now they're back 9-4. So we'll see if they can keep this going. The Colts and the Texans are coming. For the Texans, that was easy. Arizona's terrible. They got a blowout win there, and for the Colts, that was an impressive performance. My gosh, Phillip Rivers, I didn't know how much he would have left in the tank. But through a touchdown pass, they end up losing 18-16. Got him in position for a 60-yard field goal to take the lead. But Rashid Shaheed came through, man. Seattle falls behind on a 60-yarder. They got to go 2-minute drill down the field, and he has 3 catches. He basically was the offense down the stretch. Former Weber State Wildcat, 3 catches. Seattle gets in position and makes a 56-yard field goal of their own. That was just too many field goals, man. 9 field goals, 1 touchdown in that game. Seattle's still tied with the Rams. Phenomenal performance by the Rams. My gosh, they just lit it up. That offense is a thing to behold, man. And Puka Nacua was awesome. I mean, there's no way around it. The guy came up just a little short of 200 yards receiving. He was running wild. Got a little scary when he went down with that cramp late in the game. But he got back up and he got back in the game and finished with 9 catches for 181 yards. Phenomenal. But, man, he is not their only weapon. I mean, that offense is hard to stop. And you got to think right now, to me, they're the obvious Super Bowl favorite. Not only do they have one of the best records at 11-3, not as good as the Broncos at 12-2, but you look at the Broncos, you look at the Patriots, and like, well, who's been there? Who's done that? Here comes Seattle. But they haven't been there, and I don't think we trust their quarterback. We don't trust Sam Darnold on the biggest stage, even though they're 11-3 now. Even though they're 11-3. It looks like the Rams. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if somebody else can pull it off. It's fairly wide open, but I would think, the Rams are the team in front. But, man, have a bad day, have a couple turnovers, and let the chaos really, really ramp up and let things really get nuts. The Eagles snapped their losing streak. I mean, it was the Raiders. It's 31-0. They were supposed to. They did. Good for them. If you want a shutout that was impressive, the Ravens shut out the Bengals with Burrow back. Where have you been all year, Baltimore? There was a great play in that game. Kyle Van Noy, the former Cougar, with the interception. He starts running. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to make it. I'm not getting there, guys. And so he didn't even pitch it. That's too risky. Veteran move. He handed it off. And then his teammate got the return for the touchdown. And the Ravens go on to win 24-0. So they're 7-7. And they're not going to get in as a wild card. But they do have a chance to win the division. And obviously the Baltimore Ravens are massive Miami Dolphin fans tonight because the Dolphins are going into Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Steelers are 7-6. Ravens are 7-7. Miami can give them a loss, tie that division up, and, of course, they've still got another game head-to-head. So an opportunity for the Ravens here. Maybe they get a little help from Miami tonight. Miami doesn't really have anything to play for. Play better, get some momentum for next year, I suppose. I think the team that's building momentum for next year is Minnesota. The Vikings went into Dallas and won 34-26. The Dallas defense, the Buffalo defense, some of these defenses just can't be trusted. And Minnesota lit them up, 34-26, and Minnesota gets the win. And to get some starts for J.J. McCarthy, get him some experience, get him playing better, get him to improve. They're 6-8. They'll probably be the third-place team in that division. It looks, Green Bay, Detroit, and actually Chicago. They'll probably be the fourth-place team in that division. So get a last-place schedule in the NFC. Wow, that could be pretty sweet for Minnesota. They don't have that bad a team. Their quarterback improving. Maybe they can take a big jump. Playing a fourth-place schedule, Saints, Giants, Cardinals, nice. You get a last-place team from the AFC. I'm not sure which division they'll be rotating through and playing, but that kind of sets them up in that division to get some easy games, and everything in that division head-to-head seems to be really difficult. This is no doubt about it. I mean, Minnesota is hands down. Every other division has 2, 3, 4 loss teams in last place, or 4 win teams in last place. 6-8, they're clearly the best last place team. The Saints at 4-10 would be next. There's a disaster in every division, so things really set up for them going forward. If they can get on a little bit of a roll here, you can see how they'd be set up for next year. So, all right, there's a little bit of the NFL. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get a little of the college basketball for you. BYU winning as expected, Utah State winning, and Southern Utah, the University of Utah, not so much. It was difficult. I don't know what else to say. It's just, it's difficult. All right, we'll get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. We're getting to that time of year, college basketball ramping up. We're getting through the last few non-conference games before we get into conference play. And Utah State picking up a win. They get a win over Illinois State at the Delta Center, 83-78. A couple of nice games. Mason Falslev, who is now a junior and is that rare player who's the junior and he's in his third year at this school. What? Why haven't you transferred? Well, because he's a local guy and that's where he wanted to be. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Solid game for Mason Falslev. Gary Clark came off the bench with 18 points and 8 rebounds, 7 of them offensive. Very impressive there. And MJ Collins led the Aggies with 20 points. And they get the win. They improve to 9-1. Illinois State falls to 8-3. It has been hard for the Aggies to schedule. Nobody really wants to mess with them. Play a team from a power league and lose. Don't play a team from the Mountain West and lose. That's what most coaches are thinking, so they're steering clear. So it's not been a great schedule, but at the same time, Utah State has cruised through it with just the one speed bump on the way to a 9-1 record. So you got to give it to them for that. South Florida got them in a true road game, but other than that, they've been flying here. For more on this game, let's get the post-game thoughts of the head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Here's Jared Calhoun.
There's a lot of things that were good here. Your offense, you shot 52% from the field. You rebounded the heck out of the basketball. I'm sure you'll also look at turnovers, too. You were able to force turnovers, but also committed a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, it's been a while since we put a full, complete game. The sad part is that team doesn't force turnovers, so they're not a team that really takes you out of anything other than their pick-and-roll coverage. They go drop coverage and bait you to take mid-ranges. So proud that we won, really proud that Gary and Zach had a great week of prep, and I like when guys get rewarded for the hard work throughout the week, and I thought Falslev willed us to the win.
You know, talking about the bigs, we mentioned at the break between the two of them, was it a conscious effort? Because I felt like you attacked the mismatch, not by going straight to the post, but when they switched on the pick and roll, you guys throwing up threes, and Gary's got a 6-foot dude, and I think that's what got him going was 4 offensive rebounds and 4 points real quick.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get the ball to those guys more. I feel like, when we're not making shots, those guys put a lot of pressure on the rim. And like I said, I kind of made the decision to start Keller. And I said, if it goes bad, you guys can blame me. Same thing with our post coverage the last 4 minutes. And both of them worked. So I think sometimes you got to give kids confidence. Zach is a kid that has zero confidence, so I think the more we can give him responsibility-wise, the more he'll step up. And then KT and Gary had been in foul trouble in most of the games, so I felt like let's put Zach in there, let's stay out of rotations, and we actually got off to a halfway decent start, but we just have a lot of lulls and a lot of empty possessions, and it's kind of the way we practice. We have not been the same since we got back from the East Coast. It's a valuable lesson in scheduling. So nonetheless, you turn the page, you beat a quad 2 team. I thought the crowd was awesome, very, very impressed with our fan base in the Salt Lake area and all the people that came out today and spent money on this team. I really, really appreciate their effort today.
You know, you adjusted the lineup before the Charlotte game. You tinkered with it a bit tonight. Do you feel like you have an idea of what you're going to look like against Colorado State, or is that still up in the air?
No, I mean, it's going to be now whoever earns it. I mean, I think Drake and Mason and MJ, those 3 guys are consistent guys. So it's really the front court. But we could go a lot of different ways. I think it depends on who we're playing. Even Tucker Anderson, I mean, he didn't do much offensively, but I thought he played pretty hard. He got his nose dirty a little bit there in the end, and he wants to win. Winning is really important to Tuck.
That's awesome. Those 3 guards you mentioned, MJ has 20, and we're not talking about it just because he's been so consistent. I thought Drake actually did some really good things, in that bucket at the end was not easy whatsoever, just teardrop off the glass. But Mason, it was not pretty at all. But talk about Mason, just that possession, 4 offensive rebounds and a steal. He just found a way to just fight and got you guys an extra possession at the end of the game, again with an offensive rebound.
Yeah, he imposes his will. He hates to lose. Winning is really important to him as well. And he's going to give you everything he has. He's been doing that now for 2 seasons or 3 seasons for the Aggies. And I think the fans, sometimes the energy and the effort like that, if we can get 5 guys playing like that, we got a chance. So we got to have a really good week. We'll take off tomorrow. We're going to go Monday, Tuesday, take off Wednesday. Going to go recruiting Wednesday, and then another 2-day prep for Colorado State. So it's going to be a heck of a game. Colorado State's really good. They beat Colorado. They're playing really at a high level, best shooting team in the country.
Yeah, the conference got off to kind of a slow start, but now it seems like they've gotten in.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody's not talking about it now. They love to trash the mid-majors, but I watched the Big East, and the bottom of the Big East is really, really bad. There's some bad leagues out there. I mean, it's not like from 1 through 14. These leagues are some, great leagues. I mean, there's, I think this year, if you look at it, the Big Ten is, pretty loaded. If you look at the Big 12, it's loaded. SEC has struggled. I think the ACC won that challenge. The Big East, like I said, has got a lot of bottom tiers. And, if you look at some of the wins over the last 10 to 14 days, this league should be talked about more. It's actually the same as last year. I think our non-conference strength of schedule should be a little bit better than last year. I know everybody crushed us about our scheduling. This is a quad 2, and we need Memphis to win. I think they got cracked today, unfortunately. But if they would be a quad 2, last year in the non-league we played 4 quad 1, quad 2s. Right now we're 2-1. So we got one more opportunity. You went 9-1 in your non-conference, and you probably got to go 15-5 if you want a realistic shot at making the NCAA tournament. So that's our goal. But our habits, I'm going to continue to talk about our habits. This team is a little more of a challenge, quite honestly, than coaching last year's.
Well, there's Jared Calhoun after the win. Now they're ready for league play. They got Colorado State coming up to open things up December 20th. And that is, now I got to do math. Today's 15 Saturday. Okay, there it is. Saturday. Circle it, noon, CBS Sports Network. And Scotty G will have the call right here on The Zone. Now, for the Utes, they played at the Delta Center also. Late night game, ESPNU. You may have seen it. The 17-point lead over Mississippi State. And it all goes away, and Mississippi State rallies and gets the victory. After the game, Alex Jensen and Kendall Sanders meeting with the media. Here they are after the Utes fall.
Alex, obviously you guys go out to that 7-point lead, but that 4-minute stretch kind of changed things. What kind of went wrong in that period that allowed them to come back into that game?
I think it's kind of happened multiple times with the year. We've gotten a double-digit lead, and I think it's just kind of a maturity level for us as a group, as a team, and that's when good teams, and hopefully we'll get there, winning teams, where they kind of do what got them to that point, right? And especially defensively, you kind of ramp it up, not go for steals, but we tend to get a little lackadaisical, and then we're not patient on offense, and we end up dribbling a lot and taking early shots. And I give Chris and Mississippi State credit. He did a good job coming and mixing it up on us. They went to the zone and the press, which he talked about and we knew they were going to do when things go wrong for them. But again, just the maturity of doing the same thing that got you that lead.
Was that first half one of your better efforts of the year, do you think? It seemed like nothing was clicking for you.
Yeah. You know what? I think it was. I think, we made shots. I think that helped. But, I'm not a perfectionist, but I think in the first half we still had too many no-pass, 8-dribble possessions, which, I think, so I try to tell the guys, it's every possession. You're up 17, you're up 2, you're down 8, just every possession. You don't have a lot of them. There are 2 months left. But I think it was pretty good, but there were still, things that we can control, even in the first half.
It seemed like the defense, they scored on several straight possessions there in a row, and especially that little number 2. Did he kind of surprise you how well?
Yeah, no, we give up some size and toughness at times, and it's kind of the maturity level following the scouting report, and 46 points in the paint, and we did a good job rebounding. That was an emphasis, but it's hard to you got to guard your guy, and 22 points off turnovers, 46 points in the paint. That's hard.
Would you say that you guys are making strides from game to game to game, or do you still think big picture so much needs to be improved?
Yeah, no, I think we are making strides. I think a lot of our guys have made little strides, and it's gonna be patient, and it's just hard when there's things you can't control. You can't make every shot, but you know what? You can not over dribble, and we did a pretty good job for the most part blocking out. But long way to go, but I think we have made strides.
Jacob wasn't here today with being able to court. Where does he kind of fit in and kind of what this team can do?
Yeah, no, that was I don't know exactly. It was right before the game. He came and said he couldn't play. So next man up. It's not the time to talk about that. But yeah, no, I think he helps a lot. I think he's one of those guys. Going back to the earlier question, he's made strides. He's played against men, and he's adjusted, I think, to the college game well. But yeah, I think he could have helped us tonight, but we still should have won. We still had our chances to win.
Kendall, you guys obviously have that big lead. What kind of changed that allowed them to come into that game?
Honestly, we're just making tough shots. Honestly, tough shots leads to us putting our heads down, not playing hard. We really just got to keep fighting through that. Honestly, that's a good team. It was a good win for them, but we just got to play hard. Honestly, that's all it is.
It's been a little problem for you a couple of times this year where you get a big lead and you just kind of drop off. Can you explain what happens on that?
Yeah, it's really just us just letting off. We just got to, the way we play in the first half, we got to play the second half the exact same way. We just get settled and we're just happy. But then, of course, they start chipping away. And we start putting our heads down. That's just how the game goes. Honestly, we just got to keep going, can't stop. No foot off the pedal. Honestly.
It does feel like you guys are growing, though. That you guys are coming together. Things are starting to click a little bit more. Where do you feel like you guys are at right now in terms of being where you think you can be?
Obviously, we've been losing a couple guys. Jake isn't here. So that's one thing we have to fight. But I feel like we're getting closer and closer. Still understanding how each other play. Still trying to learn how to play off each other. But I feel like we still got a good squad. We're still doing great.
Well, the Utes dropped to 7-4 on the year after that 82-74 defeat. And it was disheartening. They led 42-32 at the half, had that 17-point lead. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, it didn't happen. Probably need a little more balanced scoring. They rode Don McHenry's 29 points and Terrence Brown's 22, and nobody else in double figures. So got to try to figure that out. Plus, if you keep giving up 80 points and 50 and a half, you're just not going to win any more games. And, Alex Jensen doesn't stray far from the Rick Majerus blueprint, so I assume they're going to defend better. When the opponent shoots 40% from three and 51% from the floor, they're going to get their 50 points and a half, and they're 82 in a game, and they're probably going to beat you. So until that gets fixed, it's hard to believe that things can change much. All right, and finally, BYU. Man, I don't really know what to tell you about this game. I don't even know why they played this game. They played UC Riverside out of the Big West. BYU won 100-53. It's their biggest blowout of the year. They beat Holy Cross by 45. Now they win this by 47. They hit 100 points for the first time. I don't know what the point is. They got Pacific Tuesday and Abilene Christian Friday, and I'm not sure I know what the point of those games are either, but nonetheless, they're going to play them. After the game, the head coach, Kevin Young, meeting with the media as BYU picks up another victory, and the Cougars improve to 9-1 on the year with that one loss to UConn by 2 points. Here's Kevin Young after the win over UC Riverside.
Well, your offense cooked tonight, too. What did you like on that end of the floor?
The 22 assists. I thought, there was a couple of things we wanted to highlight, or I should say emphasize coming into this game, the number one thing offensively was just playing with the pass more in transition. So that was the most, we call them kick-aheads, that we've had in a game this year, and subsequently had the most fast break points with 29 fast break points. Easier to do when you're getting stops, obviously. And then 22 assists. That's more how, we want to play, and I thought the guys were really good there.
Season high in bench points for you guys.
Yeah.
About the production, specifically from Coastal.
Basketball in the basket, right? We talk about it a lot. I mean, shot making is a beautiful thing. I mean, that's why we brought him here. We felt like it was a matter of time before he was able to have a game like he had tonight. But when Dawson went down, I mean, he was a guy that, he's kind of a hybrid between like Trevin from last year and Dawson, because he can play with the ball a little bit more off the dribble. And if he can do that, man, that's going to be obviously a huge weapon for us, especially when we sub Rob out. He can do that next to AJ. I like that pairing.
What are the things that you're looking for from your bench players aside from putting points up?
Yeah, just to do whatever I just told them in the locker room. Just whatever they're good at, do that, right? So like Hadim comes in, he's an energy guy, played with energy, gets a double-double. Alexei, obviously a shooter. You got to come in and you got to make shots and just do your job ultimately and be able to. I mean, look, sports is a brutal world because you got to produce. You just got to produce. And so tonight they did, and now the challenge for those guys is going to be able to do it on a consistent basis.
Talking about consistency, just how impressive you've been with the recent success in the defensive end. In second consecutive game, we're only giving up 21 points in the second half. Just your thoughts on the defensive effort recently?
Yeah, it's been good. I think I got to give just so much credit to my staff. Those guys are dialed in on the defensive details. We've done a lot more defensive work this year than I've ever done, quite frankly, in practices and drilling and technique and things of that nature. So it's starting to pay off. I thought in the first half there was probably 6 to 9 points that we gave up that we shouldn't have given up, so it could have been even better. But I just think our guys are really buying into what we're asking them to do on that end of the floor.
How did you feel about the start of the game? I know slow starts have been kind of a thing for this team in the past. Just what did you think of the initial start, wire start?
No, I thought it was great, and that was something we challenged the guys on with as well. Really just a mentality. We wanted to come in and establish our dominance early in this game with our physicality. We were picked up. We were picking them up with a little bit of token full court pressure. I thought that got us our aggression going. I think that's something that this team can be pretty good at in spurts, and tonight it certainly reared its head.
I think I knew this intellectually, but I didn't fully realize it until you talked about it yesterday on your coach's show. It's been a full month since you guys have been in this building. Do you feel like you kind of felt a little bit of that energy maybe that helped some of the fast start?
For sure. I think, this place always has energy. That trip to New York was great, but it was exhausting. We felt like we were there forever, honestly. We had a pretty exhausting day, the day after the game, and long flight and everything like that. So it took us an hour and 40 minutes to get to the airport, and then we had a 5-hour whatever flight, so it was a long day. So I was honestly a little worried about, letdown getting back home, just in terms of like letting our guard down, but that was clearly not the case. So kudos to the guys to responding.
Were you looking to get AJ a triple-double when he came back in? You guys are up about 40.
Not really. I was really just trying to, I really wanted Alex to stay at the 2, quite frankly, and so just giving him a few more minutes there before we put him at the point guard position to end the game. That's what that was. But I mean, and I hope, what are we, 11 games in? I hope everyone, including myself, isn't just gonna, get accustomed to AJ. No one's gonna ask a question about it. The guy was unbelievable tonight. That was ridiculous what he just did out there. I mean, he had 26 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 1 block, and probably could have had 50, truly. And so, he's a special player. That was incredible what he was doing out there. I just incredibly impressed with what he did tonight and what he's done all season. Kid's good, man. And then everyone feeds off. I thought him and Richie, that little pitch back he had, and Richie goes down and hammers it. Just, I like the chemistry, that I'm seeing, along with this dynamic, talent. That's really the holy grail. If you can have chemistry and you tack on high-end talent, and that's what we're trying to get to. And I think we're more there than we aren't, and that's a good sign.
You've been around some of the best players in the world. When you see AJ's talent, I mean, does it kind of take you back how impressive he's been just this quick in the college game and have this type of night?
I just think it speaks to how special of a player he is. He's the size, the handle, the IQ, the athleticism. It's just a total package. It is, and so, it's hard to coach it. There's not many players like that in the world of basketball, period, regardless of age. And just super glad that obviously he's on our team. We all get to see it on a night in, night out basis. And I think it's almost like people forgot about this guy. You know what I mean? You hear all this stuff about all these other guys. And I know I'm biased because I'm around him all day. And then he did what he did to guard. It's, oh yeah, this guy might be the number 1 pick. And it's like, don't forget about the guy. You know what I mean? And we're going to win a lot of games because of how good he is. But, it's more about he's good because he's talented, but he's a team guy. They're hard to find, man. They're really hard to find.
2 more questions?
Saw it in the building tonight, Abdullah Ahmed, with him signed. What's kind of the plan for him and KJ Perry to could they be possibly playing this season for this group? I'm just kind of curious on that.
We're still working out all the details. There's a lot that goes into it, as I'm finding out, so I don't have a great answer there.
Last question. 4 games, I think, in 30 days. How do you plan on managing that?
Tonight was good in terms of being able to have bench guys come in and produce, so we didn't have to play the starters as many minutes. But it's more for us, if you're really, paying attention tonight, we played Hadim a lot more at the 4, and he was great. Statistically, he's had bigger numbers at the 4. And so I think looking at different things is going to be something we're trying to do in this time frame. But in terms of managing the load and so forth, our medical guys and our strength coach do a great job of kind of using all the data and so forth to keep us in the right space with not overdoing it with these guys, and I'll lean on them for that.
Here's BYU basketball coach Kevin Young. We'll take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.